Devin.
And I'm Mary Kate.
And we're picking up pieces.
A channel all about board game pieces.
And how to pick them up. And in today's video, we're going to be honoring Klaus Teuber, the designer of Catan. Sadly, early this month on April 1st, he passed away. And so in this video, we're going to try to give you kind of like a little autobiography. I'm not Klaus Teuber. A biography on him, and then also give you some of our favorite memories of playing Catan and what it's meant to us, because he's had such a huge impact on gaming. And I think it would be sad if we as a hobby just didn't look upon who he was and how he became who he is. And so, in saying all that, let's get to it. So Klaus Teuber was born in 1952 in Germany. And so Klaus, he was raised at a very young age playing toys, playing games, and he always loved it. So he didn't really rediscover games until later in life, whenever he had to serve in the military, which was mandatory in Germany. And he ended up playing a ton of games in order to connect with his family. Alongside of that happening, he also, at some point, was also managing a dental lab, which he hated. Absolutely hated. And so with him hating that, he used designing board games as kind of like an escape from that. And alongside with him being a part of this dental lab, he also loved reading. And so it kind of played where he loved reading so much that he had the idea in his mind that he wanted to see these books actually portrayed in real life. And so he thought gaming was a good mechanism for that. So he was reading a trilogy that he absolutely loved. And after he got done with the trilogy, he was gutted. And he just was like, man, I don't want this to end. And so that kind of inspired his first big game, Barbarossa, which won Game of the Year whenever it came out. And not only did he win the spiel or the game of the year during that time period, but he also, in the following years, with him making other games such as Hoity Toity, is it Wacky Wacky West, I think? It was 2 other times that he won it. And then again in 1995, whenever he won it with Catan. So he won the spiel 4 different times. And really, he was almost like ahead of his time of just being able to design games in such an effective manner with the family in mind and with interactions in mind. Which, for me, I love interactions in games. And obviously, you get that in spades with Catan. And so, luckily, whenever Catan came out, a few years later, and I think in 1998, he actually was like, oh, I can do this and be able to support my family doing this. And so he was able to leave his job that he hated and was able to actually, use gaming as a way to, feed his family and be able to support his family, which was great. And I think a lot of people in the hobby space would love to be able to do that. So mad respect to Klaus. And it's so sweet to be able to think of like how much like his family played an influence on him and on his gaming designing. Like he oftentimes, I was watching a video where it had his kids who, like 2 of his kids, he has 3 different kids, and 2 of his kids actually are a part of the business, like the Catan business today. And one of his kids, or just remember that they claimed to be the first play testers of Catan, because oftentimes whenever he would test games, he would rope his kids along to play at the dinner table with him. And that I remember one of his kids saying that, a lot of times he would just put like a comic book next to the game, so that whenever his kid read the comic book, that Klaus realized, okay, this game needs to be fixed a little bit because this kid is finding this game boring, and so he used his had his family partake in it in a very meaningful way in his board game design. And so that's Klaus Teuber, and again, just wanted to remember him, and also doing that, we want to look back what Catan meant to us personally and how we remember Catan fondly. And I mean, we still get to play it, and that's the great thing. He gets to be, live on through this game that he made for hopefully generations to come. And so, what are some memories to you that you thought is really that left an impact on you while playing Catan?
So growing up, we played a lot of kind of classic games, just like me and my family. But
as mostly everybody.
Like I didn't ever play board games with like friends or anyone, but there was this one time where I spent the night at my friend's house, and she had a bunch of siblings and they had some friends over.
Mm-hmm.
And in the morning, before my parents came to pick me up, she was like, I'm going to go on a run. And I was like, what? Mm-hmm. She just left me there. And so I joined her siblings to play this game, Catan, which I had never heard of before in my life.
How old were you?
I was in maybe like 9th grade.
Okay, like freshman in high school?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 8th, 9th grade, sometime around there.
Okay.
And I had nenever heard of this game before. I'm like, Catan, what's this?
Mm-hmm.
And so they explained it to me and we started playing, and it was a blast. It was the most fun I had ever had playing a board game. Mm-hmm. By the end of it, like, we were all just like yelling at each other because this one guy, he's the only one who had sheep and we all needed sheep. So we were just like, I'll give you everything I have for the one sheep. And I just remember, like, we were laughing and making up jokes, and it was just so much fun that I went home and I was like, Mom, we have to eat this game.
Yeah.
This game is so fun. Mm-hmm. And just like, I had never really kind of had that moment with a game before where I was like, I have to play this again. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of like the first really like core memory with a board game where I'm like, board gaming is great fun, and especially like it creates those memories with other people, with just like those moments of like hilarity when you're all just trying to like barter over little cards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that like Catan, like it definitely kind of pushed me into really wanting to play even the board games that we had at home, wanting to play those more with my family. Mm-hmm. Because it was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about these. Let's do this again. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and I can also remember the first time I was playing Catan, which I think that really is a testament to how Catan is so impactful. Like the very first time you play it, like, oh, this had a meaningful impact. Like I played Catan with my aunt and uncle, who I think discovered it. They were missionaries, and so they were missionaries in a foreign field where they were learning the language. Didn't have the best ways to connect with people, just because it's hard to connect with people who don't speak your language. And so a lot of times they really focus on family time. And I think they found Catan through other missionaries who was like, oh, we play this game all the time. And they absolutely fell in love with it. And then like bought like a ton of expansions. And then whenever they finally moved back home to the States, they showed me the game, and I was like, what? It was like it was so much fun, like being able to just, again, that bartering system that's in Catan, like, trading, where it's like, give me this for this. It leads to a lot of table talk, which I always love in games. And then also you have that nice little introductory strategy that Catan brings to you, where you're able to like really think more than just like an average like Monopoly game where it's just all luck based. Like all you do is move and you do what it tells you to do. And so Catan was really good for that. And I remember whenever I was doing research, reading the NPR article. I remember reading this, and I told my Kate immediately after reading this, I was like, what? So this article said that, Catan is like one of the most popular board games today, and also it's so absurdly complicated. I was like, wait, no, you're missing the good part of Catan. The good part of Catan is that it's so easy to be able to introduce to people to the beginnings of a complicated strategy game. But at the same time, on second glance, is like people who never used to board gaming at all, or even simple card games, maybe they do view it as more complicated. But I definitely don't think it necessarily represented what Catan is and how like the reason why it has such a big impact is because it is able to introduce so many people to this world of board gaming. And so I didn't want to like just overlook that, because it's such a beautiful game. And so another memory I remember having is really after being introduced that to myself, I then introduced it to a whole bunch of people at college, or, a whole bunch of people at college ended up playing Catan, and we loved it so much that us with no money at all, because we had no money, we're just in college, we all together put together money to buy this $50 game in order to play together constantly. I don't know what happened to that copy. I think one of the other people who put towards the money ended up taking it with them. And so this copy back here is
the one I got in high school.
Is the one that May-Kate got in high school.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then I know for you whenever you attended church at college, had a huge impact on your home group.
Oh, yeah. We would have, like, my, one of our groups at church, we would have a game night, like, every so often, and we would always play Catan, and the guy who led the group, Josh, he always won every time. And so it created this, we'd go and we'd be like, all right, mission today, don't let him win.
Yeah.
And we would all go into it like, no one trade with him, no one give him anything, but then somehow every time we'd be like, oh yeah, there's not a chance. We need what he has, you know. He's so far behind, there'll be no chance. And then like, boom, he'd win and we'd be like, no, we'll get him next time.
And so she calls him Josh, which is so weird to me. So he actually was a professor at our college. And so he, to me, is Dr. Styles. And he is he is maybe the kindest man in the world. No lie. I mean, he would give you his clothes off his back. But this man is ruthless in board gaming. At least May-Kate, from what he told me or what she told me, it's just like he'll just straight up like he'll kill you with a smile, you know?
Yeah.
So
that was a fun time.
Yeah. So obviously, guys, I think that's pretty much it. We really just wanted to remember Klaus and hopefully honor him and just say thank you really for the game that he's made and for being able to introduce so many people to the hobby and just being able to have so many good memories around the table. So thanks, Klaus, and also we just want to let you guys know that we value all of you, and if we had the chance, we would love to play board games with every single one of you. So see you guys. Bye.
Bye.